welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. This is the week that was, and it's actually been quite some time since I made an episode of the week that was. Busy times. I have had somewhat irregular posting schedule for the last month or so, and that's because of travel and family visiting, so those are good things. But also I've been just very busy with work, being the chairperson of the English department at my college means that I am busy at weird times, like just before the beginning of a semester. I get super busy with administrative stuff that I will not bore you with by going into detail, but I have just been tremendously busy. I hope to be a little bit less so, but I have nevertheless been fairly productive for the channel, at least behind the scenes. And some things have actually been going up. Some videos have been going up on the channel as well, so let's talk about those briefly. I did have a wonderful time talking with Derry for Dear Dr. Fantasy. She really did a fantastic job of advocating, especially for two series, and those would be The Realm of the Elderlings and, of course, the Discworld books by Terry Pratchett. So, yeah, we had a great time talking about Pratchett and Hobb and just the brilliance of both authors, and I enjoyed speaking to her very much. I also did a review of a self-published book called Dead Boy's Game and the Broken Vow by A. David Singh, and I had a really nice time reading that book, and I will continue. Even though I don't get a ton of views on reviews in general, but especially on reviews of self-published books, particularly ones that are not maybe as well known, I don't get tons of views on those, but I will continue to do my reviews of self-published books and reviews, period, because this is one of the major reasons why I'm here on BookTube, is to talk about books and analyze books, and I feel like the reviews are an opportunity for me to do that, even though they seem to be not the most popular thing. They're kind of a dying breed on BookTube, which seems strange to me, but I will keep doing them. So, and I also had another great time talking with Ben from Books with Benghis Khan on Dear Dr. Fantasy. Great discussion. We talked about a variety of different series that we're really into, among them Dresden Files. Yeah, he's just a very knowledgeable fantasy reader with a relatively new channel, and I had a great time chatting with Ben about also his travels, very well-traveled individual with some great insights into life, and so it was just a really great, wide-ranging discussion. And I did, let's see, somewhat of a fun video where I just celebrated turning 50 because, yes, this August I turned 50. Boom, there it is, the big 5-0. So I was being a little bit silly, putting on a video of myself playing tennis with some, awesome music in the background. So yeah, it was just me having a little fun, making fun of myself. But I really appreciate all the wonderful comments and the well wishes and everything from all of you guys on that video. And I also had another review of a Dresden Files. Speaking of Dresden Files Book 5, Death Masks, where I feel like each of the books, more or less, I'm getting more and more invested in this series. I haven't quite reached the point where I can't wait for the next Dresden Files book. I know that's probably going to arrive. That's what the fans tell me, and the fans of the series have been right about pretty much everything so far. So I anticipate that eventually I will be reading and reviewing the Dresden Files books more regularly. As it is, I do hope to get to a couple more of them before the end of this year, but I really did enjoy Death Masks a lot. So I'd imagine that 2023 is going to be a much bigger Dresden Files year for me. And what else did I do here? Well, I had a wonderful time talking with Murphy Napier for another episode of Dear Dr. Fantasy. This was a great time. We talked about a few different series, but we especially talked in the first half about the Malazan book, The Fallen, which she is 3 books into. Murphy has put out I think, a wonderful review of Book 3 of Malazan Book of the Fallen. Memories of Ice. I found that to be a very insightful and moving video. And we also talked about manga, and she gave me a recommendation for manga, which I am going to talk about in a moment. But it was just a delightful conversation, and I feel like I have a lot to learn, particularly about manga, but it's always great to talk to members of our community. And Murphy was wonderful, especially coming to chat with me when her little one was feeling under the weather, and I certainly hope that she is feeling much better now. So let's talk about what I read, what I'm reading, and what I will read. So I mentioned the 2 reviews already that I did, the self-published book. Obviously I read that, Dead Boy's Game and the Broken Vow, also book 5 of Dresden Files, and loved it. Death Mass, great installment in that series. But I also have read a couple other books that I have not yet had a video about. One being The Crippled God. So yes, I have finished the Malazan Book of the Fallen for the great Malazan reread that I'm doing with my excellent friend / nemesis, Dr. A.P. Canavan from A Critical Dragon. So yeah, I finished The Crippled God by Stephen Erickson, book 10, and we'll talk about it. We are going to talk about it. I am pleased to say that Stephen Erickson has agreed to discuss this book with AP and with me. And I think that is going to be a mind-blowing discussion. And I am so excited for it. I think it's fair to say that The Crippled God, and so Stephen Erickson is the author. I mentioned this to Murphy when I was talking with her. Stephen Erickson is the author who's made me cry more than any other author. And I think it's fair to say that The Crippled God is the book that has made me cry more than any other book. So I found it just to be an incredible experience. And I can't wait to talk about it in detail. I also finished book 6 of Novels of the Malazan Empire by Ian C. Esselmont. So yes, I have finished everything Malazan. I have read every single Malazan book that has been published by both Stephen Erickson and Ian Esselmont. And so now I feel like maybe I could be a Malazan veteran. I think I've earned that now. I hope so, anyway. But yeah, it was... Again, I just had an incredible experience reading Novels of the Malazan Empire. I love those books. Those are wonderful books in and of themselves, and they have enriched my love for the Malazan world in general. And what a wonderful just experience to have had reading these books. And again, I'll be talking with AP about A Sail and Novels of the Malazan Empire. And I do hope, we have not actually arranged anything yet, but I do hope that maybe we can get Ian Esselmont to join us for those discussions too. So yeah, that's exciting stuff in the works for sure. And what am I reading now? Well, I am reading, as I announced on the channel in my community tab, I am reading Curse of the Mist Wraith. This is book 1 of the Wars of Light and Shadow by the wonderful Jenny Wirtz. And I am just a little ways from finishing this book, and it has been a tremendous journey. This is a rich book, and I'm so glad that I have started this series. I cannot wait to talk about this with AP and with Jimmy and Joanna, and for many of the discussions we're going to be having on this series. Jenny Wirtz herself will be joining us. So it's going to be really exciting. I'll have much more to say about our discussions as we get closer. But one clue about us getting closer will be when AP and I and the Malazan authors have our Malazan discussions, and those are done, then it's going to be time to talk about Curse of the Mist Wraith. And some general stuff. We're going to start off the first discussion with some general stuff about the Wars of Light and Shadow. We're going to talk about the various arcs that are within the 11 books of the Wars of Light and Shadow, because Jenny Wirtz has divided it up into different arcs of different lengths. And so we're going to talk about that. And also, I am very excited that there's going to be something to spice up that first discussion, which is going to be on my channel. There's going to be a giveaway, and I'll be giving more details about this as we get closer. But there's going to be a giveaway for book 2 in the series. And book 2, actually, the hardcover includes books 2 and 3 in the series. So Ships of Merior it's called, but it actually includes books 2 and 3. So that is very cool, and that is thanks to a very generous donor whom I will be mentioning as we get closer to the giveaway, and I'll be explaining that. But if you're interested, and I know that a lot of people have been having a hard time finding the books from the series The Wars of Light and Shadow, which I know this because people have reached out to me and said, I'm having a hard time finding these books. So that is a shame, first of all, but secondly, I think we can do something about that. I think that it might be helpful for anyone who's having a hard time finding the books in the Wars of Light and Shadow to contact the publisher, in this case, HarperCollins. Contact HarperCollins and let them know that you're having a hard time and you would like to get copies of this great series that you've heard about and you want to read. And that can make a difference. That can sometimes make a difference with the publishers. If enough of us contact HarperCollins and say, and you can do it on Twitter. It might be the easiest thing, actually, to just contact HarperCollins on Twitter and say, I really want to get hold of these books by Jenny Wirtz, and they're not easily available. Can you please publish some more of them? Particularly the hardcovers. The hardcovers would be really lovely. They're beautiful. They feature this wonderful art by Jenny Wirtz herself. She does, in case you didn't know, she does her own art for her covers. And I'll just hold that a little bit closer so you can see that. She's just a multi-talented individual, and it's a shame that these books are not more widely available, more easily available. So I do encourage you to get in touch with HarperCollins, perhaps on Twitter, if you're having problems getting a hold of that series. So. And I'm very excited for those discussions, obviously, and I will be letting you know as we get closer. And there's going to be another very exciting discussion that I'm going to be having with another booktuber, and this is as a result of the wonderful chat I had with Murphy Napier and her convincing me to give a manga a try. And I'm going to be reading Vinland Saga, and I have the first 4 books already, the first arc in Vinland Saga. And to prepare for that, I am reading, rereading a couple of the Icelandic sagas, which these are the source material for Vinland Saga, the manga. And these Icelandic sagas that originate from the 13th century, there are 2 of them that are together known as the Vinland Sagas. So there are 2 sagas, one being the saga of Eric the Red, and the other being the saga of the Greenlanders. So these 2 sagas together are the Vinland Sagas, and they're not terribly long, and this is a collection of sagas translated into English. I do have some of the sagas in Old Norse, actually, but I don't have those 2 in Old Norse, and it takes me forever to read in Old Norse. So I am reading the English translation, and I am very excited, because I love reading the sagas. And to be quite honest with you, the 2 Vinland sagas are not the best sagas out there. That would go to probably maybe Njal's saga would be a good candidate, I think. Maybe the saga of Grettir the Strong. There are a few good candidates, I think, for the top ones that are really just great storytelling. But these are interesting because of there is some good storytelling in there, some really vivid characters, very vivid characters, but for the most part, not the greatest storytelling, but very interesting for their historical value. Because of course, we can call them the Vikings, although that a bit of a misnomer there. But people from Iceland who eventually went to Greenland eventually did set foot on North America, and probably came all the way down to near where I live, near New York City. Now it wasn't there when they visited, but yeah, no, it's these are actually a couple hundred years or more after the events that they narrate. But there's plenty of evidence, including some archaeological evidence of the presence of these people in North America. So really fascinating stuff. But of course, it is all preparation for the manga. I got to get used to this, the whole right to left thing. But the manga is what I'm getting myself ready for, and I'm very excited because I think this is going to combine several loves of mine. I still have a lot of nostalgia for the comic books that I grew up on. And yes, they were American comic books, and I know there are some differences, but I am very, as I was saying to Murphy, very, very open to experiencing storytelling that combines writing and pictures. And this has some really nice art. I was actually really impressed. I sort of couldn't help myself. I just started to peek inside the 4 books that I have already, and there's some nice color art, and even the page-to-page art is just really quite impressive, and it has me pretty excited because there's a lot of material in here that is very familiar to me as someone who is a medievalist who loves Old English and Old Norse stuff. I'm excited to see what is made of it all here in this really award-winning manga. So yeah, I'm really, really excited to be doing this. And Murphy and I will be talking about Vinland Saga as well. So this is great stuff for me. So yeah, so lots of cool stuff happening, and there's also going to be some great stuff happening, other collaborations, besides the ones that I just mentioned. I'm also going to be collaborating with, of course, the ones with AP, and the one with AP and Joanna and Jimmy, and possibly Johnny Words. There's also going to be something in the works, not quite scheduled, but close to it. We're nailing down the exact day and time now, but something with the brothers Gwyn and Alan from the Library of Alexandria, so I'm really excited for that. I'm going to be doing a discussion, I think it's a live stream with Steve on Steve Talks Books, and that's going to be with Joanna and with the author Steven Erikson, so big time excited for that. And I will let you know, I believe it's going to be on the 2nd, so that's really coming up soon. 2nd of September, Friday evening is last I heard. I haven't seen the official announcement yet, so I'm not 100% on that, but I'll let you know. And I'll put out a community announcement about it, and you may see something from Steve as well. But yeah, good stuff, and I have a couple more episodes of Dear Dr. Fantasy lined up. Next is going to be somebody I'm very, very excited to talk to, and that is Scott, the bald booktuber. That's going to be a great one, and I also will be talking in the near future with Steve. Speaking of the devil, I'll be talking with Steve from Steve Talks Books for Dear Dr. Fantasy 2, because I have been on Steve's channel a number of times now, and it is high time for him to visit my channel. So yeah, lots of exciting stuff. I'll just conclude with my own book news. Nothing really to report, just that I have been getting a few questions about it, so people are curious, and I'm very thankful for that. But I don't really expect to hear anything for another month or so. It should be another month at a minimum. It may be even longer. The fact of the matter is, the publishing industry is it's slow. It's been very slow since the pandemic affected a lot of things, and my agent explained to me kind of what's going on, and so I basically, the short story is I don't expect to hear it for another month at a minimum, and it might be a lot longer even. So, but there it is, and I shall, as patiently as I can, wait for news on that. And of course, if I hear anything, I will let you guys know. I will be shouting and jumping up and down on YouTube, so you will see that. And that's it, really. That's all my stuff for this episode of The Week That Was. I'm so excited for all this. I'm so excited to interact with you guys in the comments. And there's some really great stuff happening here on BookTube. So thank you very much for all your support. thank you for all of you who have subscribed to the channel and for all the wonderful interactions that we have. I am incredibly grateful for all of it. Until next time.